you know me. Everybody say that they know me, they only see me on the cover of a Vogue and they flow me. We cannot be friends cause I like being lonely. I'm a boss, tell them not today.
All right, so I shared something earlier today on Facebook that I've seen it before, but it's so true. It said something to the effect of, why do we expect women to work like they don't have children and have children like they don't work? And I was like, bam, yes, exactly. Why do we do that? And, I feel like as a society, it's just expected. It's expected. If you run a business or you have a job, it doesn't matter if you've got kids, you better be out there hustling, girl. And the same way that, if you're home, you better be Betty Crocker in the kitchen and Diva in the bedroom and, everything else. Seriously. I mean, no wonder we're all stressed out. We are held to such high standards, add in the fact that many of us female entrepreneurs are multifaceted. So, we have multiple businesses, multiple talents per se. And I mean, no wonder we're all just running around like we're crazy all the time. So we learned a phrase, what's it been, about a month ago? I had never actually heard it before, which is kind of funny, seeing as how.
It was actually told us by one of our.
One of our friends, I was like, what is that? She was like, fempreneur. And I was like, fempreneur? I mean, I've heard of mompreneur. I had heard of that one a while back, like a couple of years ago.
Me too.
I had heard of that one, moms that are also entrepreneurs, which obviously I'm a mom, so I'm a mompreneur too, but I had never heard of fempreneur. But I was like, yes, because that literally encompasses everything, everything, every side of just being a female and an entrepreneur, which, there's so many layers that's not mom related that's within that. So, I mean, I really love that term. And I was like, yes, that's it. So we are fempreneurs. And by definition, or the definition that we got anyway, so, there may be some other ones out there, that female entrepreneurs between the ages of 30 and 55 are fempreneurs. So, yeah, that's my new title now. I'm going to have a plate made and put it on my desk.
Bumper sticker.
Everything.
Fempreneur on board.
That's how I usually do stuff. It's like go big or go home. So it's like
the growth gals, home of the fempreneurs.
Exactly. So I guess you just said the name. So I guess we better go ahead and let the cat out of the bag on that. I know we've kind of hinted around that we were working on some stuff, and I'm going to be airing this on Successfully Chaotic podcast, but we'll also be putting it out as a beginner for a new podcast that we have coming out called Growth Gals, which is also a new business. That
coaching business.
Yeah, it's Sharon and I. So you get the crazy duo for whenever you want to have some help to help you with the definition of fempreneur and all other things business, then you got us. So
yeah.
So
you can, I'm sure we'll be doing our routine again at some point coming up, or we just go all over New York and, East Coast and make our way back to the Midwest and anywhere that they'll let us basically get on the stage.
Yeah. That was so much fun. I'm excited to kind of go there again. And I feel like, this time I feel like we're more defined. Before we were just going after business owners as a whole, which there's nothing wrong with that. All business owners need help. They do.
Yeah.
But this time we've decided to kind of refine it because the fempreneurs, I'm never going to get tired of saying that word. The fempreneurs have a special set of needs. They really do. And I feel like, obviously, we are fempreneurs. So, we're
many businesses at that.
Yeah, exactly. So we're,
we can't stop being fempreneurs.
No, that's our addiction. So, so at that point, we are able to speak from that voice so much better and with so much more power than we can just as a business owner.
Yeah. I mean, we've been writing on our board here just different thoughts that we have for whether we're talking to women who are needing to figure out how they get beyond hangups in their personal life to grow their business, or whether it's people who have that part figured out, but they don't have the business piece 100% figured out. And the number one thing we wrote on our board is we wear too many hats.
Oh, Lord.
And, you've got to have a point where enough's enough. And that's part of the reason why we're going after fempreneurs, because, we have worn a ton of hats And some of that's trying to be too many things to too many people.
Yeah, exactly. And some of those don't really fulfill us. So, I mean, at a certain level, it's not realistic to say that you can only wear a hat or two. I mean, I know, I'm a wife, I'm a mom, I'm a friend, I'm a daughter. We automatically wear numerous hats that we can't really do anything about. However, there are things that, some of us, cough, cough, being me, can jump into that doesn't really fit within what we want our goals to be, what we want our business to be, what do we want our life to be. It may be awesome and fun and cool and whatever, but
sometimes stressful as hell.
Well, it'll be stressful. So I'm good with hell. Hell's good. Well, I guess hell is good, but the word hell is fine for us to say, I think. But anyway, I think sometimes, you ever heard the saying, like, too much of a good thing? I think even if it's a good thing, and it's something that's amazing, I think if it's not right for us,
yeah,
if it's not right for us, or maybe not right for that moment, or it doesn't go in alignment with where we're trying to get, if we're taking detours all over the place, that just doesn't work.
Well, and I try to say all the time, the power of positivity. But when you get to that point where you're kind of at your breaking point and you are pulled in so many different directions, it's hard to stay positive.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes I'm like positive on the outside and dying on the inside because people just expect that of me, or they see that in me. And honestly, when I'm around people, it just pulls it out of me, and honestly, one of the things I've made a goal for myself is every day to positively impact somebody. Whether that's on the phone right now or in person, as life used to be.
Yeah.
Or when the great pause is finally over completely.
We're still waiting. TikTok. It's starting to open up a little more to go back to, normal-ish. So we're getting there. And that's another thing, it's okay to go back and forth between positive mindset and, oh, today just kind of sucks. But don't stay in that place. Get yourself in check. Just be like, okay, that thing sucked, and then get yourself out of it and say, okay, what are we doing now?
I wake up sometimes in the morning and I'm kind of like in a little bit of a rut, and I'll just like crank my happy music, or like I'll turn on the comedy channel and listen to jokes, just something to get my mind and my mood up, because I can feel when I woke up that I'm still carrying the stress I went to bed with the night before, because before I even walked into my office, I had 17 things on my list that never got accomplished yesterday.
Exactly. Well, and that goes back to, as women, we are expected to, like my little meme that I shared earlier, we're expected to work like we don't have kids.
Yeah.
And then have kids like we don't have a job, which most of us have both going on.
Right.
And maybe you don't have, human children. Maybe you got furry children, kitties and dogs, or maybe you're a plant mom. I'm a plant mom too. I love plants.
Yeah.
That's a whole other subject.
I have a cat that just made home under my shed, and I called it my she shed, and I was reminded to my neighbors that I called it the bee barn.
Yeah.
And I said, well, we'll be respectful of the mother kitten under the she shed right now. So I guess I adopted 6 cats unwillingly.
So there you go. That's what I'm saying. It's so many things happen.
Her mom, like 7 now. I have as many kids as my real ones.
I trade you because I feel like the cats. I have cats too, and my cats act better than my children. That's another story for another day. But anyway, the whole point of this is that there's nothing that's going to really change the fact that we wear too many hats. But when it comes to our business, it can get very tricky by wearing too many hats.
And being too many things to too many people. So, our job at this point is to help you understand how to just pick one lane and stay in it for a little while.
Yep. Stop detouring.
Yeah. And it's really super important that you do that, because if you can find one avatar to go after, your business could go from $5,000 a month to $50,000 a month, because you've just figured out where your brand really is and who that avatar really is that really has the biggest want and desire for what you do.
Now, I know, obviously, we're both in the marketing world, so we know what avatar means. But for our listeners, I was just going to have you kind of break it down. For our listeners that have no idea, like avatar, Isn't that little bald kid on the cartoon?
It's my bit of
Yeah.
Maggie.
Well, no, there's also the Last Airbender, Avatar.
With the earring on his head. My kids love that show.
I was mentioning Avatar, and my husband, the whole 15 minutes I'm talking, he's automatically assuming we're talking about the Last Airbender because our kids watch that. So then finally he goes, "I've never seen that. Is there a new?" Is there a new one? I was like,
Sorry,
what?
you laugh a lot.
A new what? So yeah. So for our listeners, we're not talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender. We're talking about an avatar, as in the marketing world, picking your ideal target.
Yeah, defining it.
Yeah. Who are you talking to? Who's your
Age,
customer?
race, sex, nationality. I mean, it could be anything.
Yeah, it needs to be.
It all depends on what you do.
And super specific as you can get. Because we were talking about this before we went on air. That was a mistake that I made early on in my business, and actually made for far too long, was, just talking to everything. I wanted to be everything to everyone because I'm a helper. I want to help. I want to help everybody, which is a good quality, but it's not good for the pocketbook, because if you're talking to everyone, you're talking to no one. And it took me a while to kind of figure that out. And I kind of accidentally kind of found that out and then kept refining. And that's the thing, just like life is a journey, business ownership is a journey. It really is. We all kind of think about our business kind of like another kid, and that's how it is. You give birth to it, and then you got the newborn phases where you're exhausted and you're trying to figure out what you're going to do and how you're going to survive it. And then you got the toddler phase where they're into everything. And you're not sure what's going to happen. Are they going to survive or are they not going to survive? Because they're literally they just ate paste or swallowed a penny or, you know what I mean? It's kind of like you seriously go through that, and you go through the early child years where it's okay, well, things are starting to go okay. And then you got the tween years where maybe, it's kind of getting a little junky.
You're starting to even kind of define what you like, what you want to be.
Yeah, but a lot of times
you're not there yet.
You're not there yet, and that ends up being a lot of times those tween and teen years. Ends up being kind of where you're making money. You got money coming in. You're like, yeah, this is a cooking, working, awesome machine that I built. This is an awesome, human that I just birthed. This is awesome, and but. They, teenagers and tweens, they act out, they get mouthy, they do all kinds of stuff. In our business, sometimes maybe things will change, or maybe we've grown to the point that we're making pretty decent money, but not to the point where we can hire somebody in to help full time. So now we're in this limbo of we need to hire somebody to, achieve the next stage of growth that we need to get to, but we don't have the funds coming in quite to the point to hire that person to get us to the next day. Yeah. So you're stuck in this limbo of what do? The teenage years are hard for businesses. And I feel like that is where we specialize, because I feel like that is where I got stuck for the longest time, was in the teenage years, because, I wasn't sure, how to go about managing that next stage of growth. So, again, I mentioned earlier, I'm go big or go home. Sometimes that's a good attribute and sometimes it's terrible. I decided to just go ahead and jump and hire a bunch of freaking people, which that in retrospect was a terrible idea. A terrible idea. And that's some of the stuff that we say. I am super real and super honest with people. I'm like, don't do that.
We made all the mistakes for you over the last 18 years. So I'm just letting you know, we're going to shortcut that for you.
Exactly.
That's what you want. You want a shortcut. Yeah. You want us to tell you all our horror stories so you don't have to live them. You can just laugh at us for a while. We'll let you. Yeah. It was pretty funny at times.
Just like the Monopoly Man, pass go and collect $200. You can just go ahead and pass go, just collect your $200. Because we've already gone to jail. Yeah, we've gone to jail. We've landed on all the properties, paid all the fees. We've done all that for you. So
yes, and it's been ugly some days.
Oh,
we have had nasty, messy cries.
Yep.
I mean, just ugly cries.
I think that's part of it. That again, it's a journey, and I'm happy that we can kind of look back at some of this stuff and laugh now, because
I might still cry.
Yeah. We'll see. There's a couple of things that's still barely in the rearview mirror, that we still might.
If you see us live on stage, there will be a box of Kleenexes for us and for you if we choose you to come up and let us talk you through life.
Because that's the thing, sometimes you can feel so overwhelmed in your life that it affects your business. We talk about that a lot, and you can feel so overwhelmed in your business that it affects your life. And it's trying to get to the next step and achieve that balance. And one of the things that I talk about in, our speaking that we do is just the fact that for the longest time, like for almost forever, I thought that, when I got to this point or that point or whatever, that I was going to achieve this like harmonious, balance, that I was going to actually balance. And I know looking back, that seems completely stupid, but I did. I kept thinking, oh, okay, I was running full force. Like when I get there, it will be balanced. It'll be easy then. It'll be easy. My business will be balanced. My family life will be balanced, and I can breathe. Well, it doesn't work like that. There's always something going to be junking up. There's always something going to go wrong. You're going to come in and the internet's down and you have to spend all day, trying to work with the internet company to fix that. Or, your kid's going to get sick and you have to reschedule all your meetings or, whatever. Life's going to happen. Chaos is going to happen. That's inevitable. And if you already know that, you can kind of roll with the punches. But if you're planning for this harmonious miracle that's going to happen when you achieve this, fake work-life balance, you're going to be sorely disappointed. Yeah, she's laughing because she knows. I mean, that's how it is. And it's like that even in our business. Like, there's nothing wrong with looking ahead and dreaming about what you want it to be. That's good. Have that dream. Go ahead and think about, ahead of time, what you want your business to look like and work toward it. But sometimes I think we can get so caught up in the what's going to be's and we're just running blindly toward that we're actually getting farther away from it. It's like, we're not going through and actually making smart decisions on what's moving that needle. We're just reacting. And I did that for so long. And, there's so many things that we have to think about as business owners that is freaking overwhelming. It's so overwhelming. And, I think that we don't give ourselves enough time to kind of sort through those thoughts and pick our priorities. And, picking your priorities is something that's going to move that needle way farther, way more quickly. If we talk about that almost like the house analogy, you have to pick your values. Your values are your foundation of your house. And then, then you put up the walls. The walls are your priorities. And then you make your goals. The goals is the roof. So if you try to throw your goals up there on top of no roof and no foundation, or no walls and no foundation, what's going to happen? It's just going to hit the ground. Yeah. It just doesn't work. And I think so many times we get it backwards. I think, we make our goals and we just start blindly running toward our goals without even taking into consideration, what are our values, like our family or, what's important to you. And then what's the priorities related to that? Like, what is it? Like if I had to pick 3 things right now to focus on, because you can't focus on a million things, and not well anyway, what are those? What's going to move the needle further?
Well, I think that's where your brand comes in, because I think, one of the things you don't do a lot of times when you start a business is you don't tear your business down to the point that you really begin to understand that ideal client.
Yeah.
And, and even really your brand. I've been a business consultant for, years, since 2005. So, not to date myself, but and even before that, when, I worked in the bank and did commercial lending for years, I saw so many business owners that they created something and they could talk about that all day long, but they didn't know how to market it and get it out there and tell their story completely through to the point that a bank was going to feel comfortable giving them their money. And that's why I left and became a business consultant, because I wanted to help people understand what is that, so they could build that story. And if they really needed to raise money or get an equity investor, we had the story so concrete all the way through multiple avenues and ways of them to make revenue that we look like the best choice when we had to walk into even an equity funder.
Well, and I think that's huge. I think, obviously, how passionate I am about story, your story.
Yeah.
That's my thing. That's my jam. And I think it seems easy. It's like, fine. we see all the memes and all the like little things you see online on social media and stuff about, define your story. And, that's cliche, it's cute, it's whatever, but that can be a little hard sometimes. For some people, their story comes naturally, but for some people, it's like, they feel like they have so many stories inside them. They're not sure which story to choose. And I think that was my problem early on. Obviously, I love stories. I'm very big into humanizing a company and finding the story, but finding my own story was hard to pinpoint because I knew all the things that I have believe in. I know all the things that I value. I know all the things that I've experienced. I know, all the things. And so when you have all these things like jumbling around in your head, sometimes it could be very hard to pinpoint that. So, being able to look at your avatar, again, not the airbender, but your target market, being able to look at who that person is and what their problems are, their issues in their business are, and what stories that are within you that you've experienced that would help them come up with a solution to those problems. That's the story you need to.
Even potentially clients you already have that could give you a great pat on the back type story that, not necessarily interviewing them per se, but being able to use their story as a means to grow your business. And, I think everybody, once you've had your business for a little while, you've worked with enough wide variety of people, you kind of know the area that you like to work in most. And if you're having success in that area, that's an easy way to start with figuring out who your avatar is. But, for some people, we got to break it down, tear it apart, make it look like something that maybe they don't even realize it is. But that's why, we have people who join our tribe and jump on board.
And I think that's my favorite part. I think if, other than, just being a helper at a, 50,000 foot view, I just love being a helper. But if you dig down to it, I really love the stories, and here's why. A lot of times they don't even realize they're in them. They don't even realize it's a story or that anybody cares. And, I tell people when I come in like a reporter. I mean, I say this, verbatim. I come in like a reporter, and I want to talk to you, and I want to find that story, and I want to develop that story and make it in such a way that it reaches the people that you're wanting to reach. And, does that mean every single person is going to resonate with that? Absolutely not. But your person will. Your people will.
Yeah, and a lot of times we even look at people and say, why are you charging $27 a month for what you do? For what you do and the success you had, you need to be charging $97 a person. Would you rather not have one person at $97 than 5 people at $27 that don't give you the kind of quality time and dedication because they haven't spent as much? Sometimes people don't realize that discounting what you do only hurts you because you don't get the client who is really super invested.
Yeah, devalues. And, and you could talk about numbers all day long. I mean, and, for us, our goal is just to be very inexpensive, to be something that our target market can afford, because our target, as we mentioned before, is the fempreneur. They're that woman that is wearing, all the hats. She's wearing all the hats, and she's burning the candle at both ends. And, she's a hustler, she's driven, and she's doing her best every day, but she's tired. She's exhausted. And, she's just reacting to all the things that has to get done every day. And she doesn't have that time to take the step back and look at what she's doing and make informed decisions. And that is huge, to be able to make those informed decisions. She's looking at all the people that need to see her stuff. She's spraying and praying everything out there on social media. She doesn't have time to sit and make the social media plan. And I'm telling you this because this was me. This is exactly my story. I knew stuff had to get out there, so I just slapped some stuff out there and, spray and pray. Pray somebody'd see it and at least give me a like or two, so it didn't feel like it was.
I was the other way around.
Yeah.
I was that person that was paralyzed.
Yeah.
I was paralyzed. So instead of spraying and praying, even though I have something so unique that I do of being, basically cloned as the Google gal and teaching Google My Business courses and teaching people how to grow their business using Google, I just was so overwhelmed at a certain point that I did nothing.
And I think you're always one of those two. When you get to that point, when you get to that overwhelmed point, it's going to be one or the other. And a lot of times it is very dependent on your personality. You're either just going to be like, slap something out there and be like, oh, well, hopefully this works because this is all I got time for. Or you're just going to sit there paralyzed, just waiting for, all the moons and the stars to align and just be this perfect, moment to finally launch your perfect thing that you made, and it just.
I wasn't waiting, I don't think, for mine to be perfect. I just think that I gained so many clients so fast that I was so overwhelmed by trying to have to play all those roles because I didn't have people in that were trained yet. Thank God we're not there anymore.
Yeah.
But, and I just didn't know how to, I just was burning the candle both ends, like you said. I was trying to keep up with the clients that we had coming in. They were coming in so fast and furious. And then I was teaching classes and just everything that we do around it that I think I just hit burnout.
Yeah.
And it was like, I'd rather just do nothing than, to grow the business any further.
Yeah.
And all I was trying to do was just keep my head above water and not drown with the clients that we had.
I was there. I was there too. I mean, I still did the spray and pray thing on social media and such just because I don't know, I did. But, with a lot of other things, it was like I couldn't deal with it the way that I felt like I needed to deal with it. So it was easier just to kind of put my head in the sand and not deal with it. And so, I mean, that is something that, we know all, too well. We're very familiar with that. I don't know anybody that hasn't, at least at some point in time, felt like they were overwhelmed in their business.
Oh, absolutely. And even if someone comes in and takes our program and we really, they work through the whole thing from start to finish and they go through the process of understanding their business better and their brand and the group of people they enjoy working with the most. And maybe that's modifying their business ever so slightly to make that. And then go through the social media classes, website, Google My Business, and they really get to that point where they are, hopefully to God, kind of like on the autopilot mode when we're done. And you've got a little bit of relief, but you're never going to get away from having some days that are just overwhelming to you.
Exactly.
And needing a break.
Exactly.
From life.
Well, and I think rest is so important. And that was another thing I made the mistake of is, you got to hustle, you got to grind. You're a business owner. I'm a strong woman, so I'm going to get this done. And I am all of those things, but I'm also human, and I get tired and you need that rest. Don't feel bad about taking a day off. It refreshes your mind. I mean, think about your computer. When your computer runs too much and it's running too many things, it's doing too many things, it gets bogged down and running slow. What do you do?
Dead?
Yeah. I mean, it needs to. It needs to. You got to recharge it. You got to reboot it. You got to plug it in. You got to recharge it. And we need to do the same things to ourselves.
And you got to take time for you and your family.
Yeah.
And I mean, as hard as it is sometimes for me, because I am a workaholic. I mean, honestly, I hate to have to admit that, but I will admit that because unfortunately it has become who I am. And I have really worked hard over the last, 6 months to, in the evening, a couple times a week, be like, kids, we're playing games tonight. It's family game night. And you just shut it all off. And even if after they go to bed at 11 o'clock, I got to get downstairs and work for an hour before I go to bed, which I'm trying really hard not to do that anymore either. But unfortunately, it does still happen.
Well, that's because we're real. We're real people.
But I feel so happy and excited and whatever, because I know that, my daughter's in college. I mean, when she goes away to school this year, she's a senior. She may never be back home again. I've actually been happy we've had COVID-19 because I have spent more time with her than I probably would have gotten to otherwise. And so, and I know, she's going back to school at the beginning of August and, life is going to be nuts. And hopefully if she's one of the very lucky ones at the end of next school year, she's going to have a job waiting for her or get one very quickly. And, coming back home may not be something. So I have to take advantage of that right now.
And I think we all do because, again, more cliche statements, but life's so short. Life is so short. There's no guarantees. I'm full of the cliches today.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's how it is.
I've seen it firsthand with my neighbor behind me. he was 34 years old and killed in a car accident.
You never really know. And while our business is so important, and I can't stress enough that, that is your baby. You've created it, you've nurtured it, and it's great that you want to, put time and energy into it. I would expect nothing less, but make sure you are taking time for yourself, taking time for your family. But that's all on that. Let's go ahead and talk about Growth Gal. So obviously this is launching first on Successfully Chaotic because we have not got the platform up for Growth Gals yet. But this will also, so you'll be very confused when you get on Growth Gals probably at first. I'll also air this on Growth Gals just so the people that end up finding it on there can hear this too. We've started Growth Gals. This is something that we've done for years and years under different names and, by ourselves. And we did do one round of it together under another name. But we're full of the names. But
we just like incorporating businesses.
Yeah, we like incorporating businesses. That's our hobby.
We just want to confuse our tax account.
Yeah, exactly. Now we further refined it and decided, that we were really targeting these women, these, female entrepreneurs. And so, we started digging through everything that we had spoke about before and said, okay, how can we really dig down and refine this to speak directly to these women? Because we are you, we know what you think, and we know what you've been through, we know what you're going through, we know the struggles, and maybe you have too much business and you're not sure how to manage it. And maybe, you are out there just crushing it every day and you're not really finding the business. And either way, we can come in and we can kind of help figure out how to fine tune who you're talking to, fine tune exactly where things are roadblocking, and we can kind of get you.
If your message is right.
Yeah. I mean, and that's so huge. And we wanted to make sure that it was super duper cheap. I mean, bare bones cheap. To start out, we wanted to go ahead and create 2 classes they're classes that we've taught in the past that we've, refined to speak specifically to, the female entrepreneur, the fempreneur. And, one of them is a GMB class, a Google My Business class that, teaches, Sharon is the Google gal, so she's the one that does that. And she will teach everything GMB, $37.
Yeah, and so that is your Google My Business knowledge panel. It is that box that pops up in Google Maps and in Google Search that tells the world about your business. And, it is landed on 4 times more frequently than your website. That page really needs to sell your business. So it is the most important piece of digital marketing right now when you are a business who's trying to gain local search.
Exactly. And it's only $37, $37. And then we have the social media class that I teach. And I teach all the social media platforms, show you how to set them up and show you some little tips and tricks. And then I dig way down deep into my 2 favorite ones because I like Facebook and Instagram myself personally. So, there's nothing wrong with all the rest of them, but those are the ones that, I really get in depth with. And it is also $37. So, you get so much value packed information that you can take and implement into your business to help you with that hat, to help you manage that hat.
Yeah. But then we've got a big program. So, we want everybody to join our tribe. And so, we've got a program that's $97 a month. And that's the program where we really begin to look at your business. We help you to break down the barrier that you're in, to help understand your brand. Do you even know what your brand is? And then get to your avatar, not the guy with the blue hair on his head, but, well, I guess, you can figure out how to market to a cartoon character. Anyway, but that's really where it is. And then, so we kind of start there and we literally go down everything. So that includes branding, avatar, understanding who you are as a business owner, understanding who your business, what your business is, who your clients are, all the way through creating your story, through getting your story out.
And that is, I can't even really describe how important being able to have that tribe is, because I know whenever I started having those people in my life, that really helped me fine tune the stuff that was already in me. It's not like we're putting stuff in you. We're not putting stuff in you. It's there. We're just helping you find it and helping you isolate it and helping bring it out.
Yeah, between us and the other people in the tribe, I mean, some people may be further along in what you're doing, and, you can share questions out on the Facebook group, and, other people may give you advice as well, because they may be in your industry or have seen your, what's going on in your industry more from a more, front-end perspective. So, I think the thing that's important is it's not just about what we help you do. It's about the group.
Exactly. And, we talk about, have your tribe, your girl tribe. And it's even more important on a business aspect, because if you're anything like me and you go try to talk to people who are not business owners about, owning a business or this or that and the other, they look at you like you got three heads, because unless you've actually been there, it's hard to really explain the things that go on. So how are you going to get feedback on that? They might care. They might care about you a lot and want to help, but if they've never been in that situation, they can't really tell you, well, you need to do it like this, because if you don't, this. Because like we said, we've been there, we've done that. We've made the mistakes. We've, seen what works and what doesn't work. And we don't want people to make the mistakes that we did. And, a lot of people charge thousands of dollars to do this kind of thing. And, we talked about pricing and, thousands of dollars is great. But here is the thing. It's not the money that we're after. I mean, obviously we all have business bills and all that kind of stuff to cover. So as much as I would love to just volunteer and do all this for free, that's just not how it works sometimes. But we wanted to make it super accessible and affordable for anybody. So no matter where somebody is in their business growth, you can afford it. If you are the person that's got all the clients and you're making mass money, well, great, you're getting a fab deal. And if you're that person that is doing amazing things, but for some reason the business isn't trickling in, you just don't have that capital coming in, it's still affordable for you too. So that was our goal when we were deciding our pricing, is we wanted it to be something that was affordable for everyone. Because I see some of these plans and they look amazing and I'm like, whoa, those are great. But, especially if you're that person that doesn't have the business coming in yet, it's not affordable. So no matter how amazing it is and life-changing it is, if you can't pay for it, you can't pay for it.
Right.
So we didn't want to be that. We wanted to kind of fill in that gap. I seen that need. I seen that gap. And you see some of these programs come up and, I'll click them up and read the comments. This looks great. I wish I could afford it. That's always the comment. I wish I could afford it.
Yeah, but they want $2,000.
And it's worth it. It's not that it's not worth it. It's that it's not accessible for everyone.
I mean, and that's not to say we won't have those clients who hire us and want that one-on-one hand-holding, but that's not going to be majority of the people that we work with.
Yeah.
Because, we're looking for that small business.
We're filling in the gap. We're filling in the gap for the people that want that type of coaching, that type of a program, but don't have that kind of money to come up with to get some of the programs that are out there right now. That was where we seen the need. And, because I was that person. I've looked at a lot of those coaching programs in the past and looked at them and thought, wow, okay, looks like it's really amazing. That might, help me get over this hurdle. But then, I didn't have that extra capital laying around to barter that on, to be able to say, okay, well, let's just try it out and see. I didn't have that capital laying around at the time. So, if I felt that way, and then a lot of these people that I see within, some of these post comments are feeling the same way, then, I was like, well, I want to be super affordable. I want to be available for that woman that's out there right now that is struggling, wearing all the hats, trying to keep everything going on at home, trying to keep everything going on in the business. She is exhausted and she needs someone to just kind of say, okay, here's what you need to do. Because a lot of times what ends up happening is we are wasting so much time and energy on things that are not moving the needle and we don't even realize it. So if you can do less and get more, why aren't you doing it? Because you don't know yet. Because it's so hard to see when you're in the muck of it. Yeah. You're just in survival mode. You're barely keeping your head above water. So let us come in and help you kind of get your head way above water, get out of the water, and start walking toward your goals.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, we own a digital marketing company, so, if we get you where you need to be, whether it's us or somebody else, there's plenty of companies out there, good companies out there, that can help you when you're ready to take that next step.
Exactly. And in the meantime, we're giving you the tools and the know-how and the inspiration to be able to do it on your own. Because we did it on our own.
We did. And this way we'll fast track your bad experiences and you can just laugh at ours.
Exactly. So real quick takeaway, if you are interested in any more information on this, feel free to comment. We're still working on getting some of the Growth Gals platforms up. You can contact us through Successfully Chaotic. We'll be dropping a couple of freebies just to kind of give you a little taste of some of the information that is in our classes. So stay tuned for that. If you're interested in being on our mail list, right now we don't have the Growth Gals link set up, but you can email me at info@successfullychaotic.com, and I'll make sure that you are on the Growth Gals list. Sharon, you have anything you want to say? Take away?
I'm just excited, and I hope you are too.
I am too. This is like business number 492. Bam! No, not really that many, but
this has been a dream of ours. This has really been a dream of ours for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that you have the opportunity to write it with us.
Exactly. Well, that's what's so funny. And I know I said I was getting off here, but I got one more thing I want to say. But I think it's really funny. Even when we were out there doing our speaking engagement, we were speaking just to business owners, even men. Yeah. Somehow we would always end up accidentally talking to the women. And I'd have to, backtrack and say, well, for you guys, obviously, yeah. Because it just would automatically happen because I was just automatically speaking to the women because, I just seen that need there. I just seen that need there, that struggle, that, I was that woman that needed that person. So, a lot of times you see all the more cliche things. You see all the memes and stuff to say, be the person that you needed. And that's what I want us to be. I want us to be the person that we needed.
I mean, when I went through Brendan Burchard's program at the end, I had to write my motto for my life. And it was, I want to be somebody who influences and helps other people so they can go out and influence and help other people.
Yeah. That's how you change the world.
And I was so proud of myself. I cried when I finished writing it because I was like, oh my goodness, that is who I've spent my life wanting to be. And now I feel like we have that opportunity with this platform.
I'm super excited too, because it's furthering the proof that, business is a journey. You start at one place and you just kind of refine on how things are going until you are able to figure out what you're supposed to do. Not just what you want to do. There's lots of things I want to do, but where the real magic happens is where what you want to do and what you're supposed to do kind of aligns. It's powerful.
Tell them not today. Swerving on these chickens, cluck out my lane. I'm a boss. Out my way. I just do every little thing that I say. I'm the freaking greatest. I'm the rage they exclamated. LA Times, I stay on page 6. I'm even your favorite's favorite. You better tell them who's the boss.